Central. The aesthetics of this room are always complicated, but I just got to say, I'm Jano Lieber, I'm the MTA Chair and CEO. I am thrilled. All right, that's my base, Christopher Greif. I'm thrilled to be here. Listen, we love doing events like this. We're talking about the future of mass transit, a future of the MTA in Grand Central, which is, and no one can gainsay it, it is the temple of mass transit in the United States. This is the center of mass transit in the United States, and we're so proud of it. But right now, I got to switch to somewhere else in the MTA system, all the way out in East New York, on the sea line at the Liberty Avenue stop. We are celebrating the New York Liberty's victory in the WNPA finals. So there's going to be, folks are going to come to the Liberty Avenue stop tomorrow and see some decals that are going to stay up celebrating the Liberty's victory, of the first in the franchise's 28-year history. And for us Brooklynites, it's pretty special to have the first professional win, sports team win in Brooklyn since the '55 Dodgers. So go Liberty, way to go. Listen, we are here to talk about the MTA's future-going capital program. Folks know the MTA does capital programs in 5-year increments. And every 5 years, under state law, we have to enact a new capital program. And we do that, but we are depending on, we're obligated to pass the capital program. We're also obligated to do a very detailed 20-year needs assessment. And our proposal for the 5-year capital program, 2025 to 2029, emerged from that program. But we couldn't do any of this without the people who are standing with me on the stage. And you're going to hear in a moment from elected officials, but let me introduce this amazing MTA team. Jamie Torres-Springer, who runs MTA Construction Development, under whose leadership the capital program that you're hearing about and seeing on these materials was developed so thoughtfully using analysis of the condition of the system, 6 million assets, details that had never been done before. Rob Free, running the Long Island Railroad, and under Rob's leadership, amazing on-time performance, amazing expansion of service, 40% more service. A huge number of people who live inside the city of New York are getting to ride the MTA Long Island Railroad because of City Ticket, which has cut the price of riding the Long Island Railroad and Metro North inside the city. So Rob, well done. Kathy Rinaldi, that president of Metro North, she gets a little extra applause because it's her house, right here. But although Rob is sharing now, it's a condo. But Kathy is running the Metro North, never before, 98+% on-time performance, amazing service, and we just love what Metro North is doing. In the meantime, they're running all of this service while physically our blessed Metro North Railroad is physically falling apart. That's why we have one of the reasons we have so much work to do. And Demetrius Critchlow, the president of New York City Transit, who is just doing such an amazing job, giving us the best subway service that we've had in a dozen years, and so much more. But now I want to pass the stage over to the elected officials who have our future in their hands, because all of the wonderful things that we're talking about in the capital program are going to be delivered by the governor and the legislature, together what we call Albany taking action in the next legislative session. We are so fortunate to have in the leadership role, the hot seat in the New York State Senate, the chairman, chairwoman, chair of the New York State Senate Finance Committee, Liz Krueger, who really knows her MTA stuff, who knows her everything stuff, actually, and is a joy to work with. Alex Boris, who represents this district, this area in the Assembly, has also been a great partner. So with that, let me turn it over to the amazing chair, Liz Krueger, for her remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll be very quick. I don't get to claim this building anymore. It was given to another senator, but I have everything around it, and Penn Station, and the best district in the world. And why do we have to fight for the MTA? Because this city is the future of the state and the region. There's no question about it. For business, for culture, for healthcare. We only will survive and prosper if we make sure we have a 21st century transit system, trains, buses, subways. We have no choice. So there are those who will say, that's so much money, how do you expect us to come up with it? And I don't totally know the answer. I know we have to, because we are the regional breadbasket. We are the city that still everyone in the world wants to come to, visit, live here, work here, start businesses, be the next generation of entrepreneurs. But it all falls apart if we don't have the mass transit system we need. And I am so proud of these men and women from the MTA who do amazing work every day for us. And who truthfully took on the job of being able to show us, the public, the legislature, city and state and federal, that they knew what needed to be done and they're doing it, that they knew what we need to do to go forward, and they laid it all out for us with detailed 20-year plans and 5-year capital plans. And so now we in elected office have to do our part of the job, working with them in tandem to make sure that we are delivering so that they can deliver for the 19 million New Yorkers in the state, plus the folks from New Jersey and Connecticut and Pennsylvania and the world who come through here every day. So thank you, Jano. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex, Boris. I'm the Assembly member for the 73rd District, which includes Grand Central, not Penn Station, unfortunately, but much of the 6th line in Manhattan. And gosh, I wish every budget request that came before the legislature was this well thought out, this detailed, and had this many benefits for the whole region. Transit is the lifeblood of New York. As our chairman likes to say, you know, it is like water and air for New Yorkers. We need transit in order for the city to survive, and we need the projects that are detailed in this capital plan. These are not optional nice-to-haves. These are critical components that keep New Yorkers moving. And they include capital that you might not always see. You know, we like to see big, flashy things, but sometimes what's required is a new train shop so that we can actually get new trains on the lines that benefit people. Sometimes what you need is just replacing steel beams. One of the most impactful things that I have done, impactful on me since becoming an Assembly member, was a tour of this very facility. And I don't mean to scare anyone, don't worry, it's very secure, but you see steel beams that used to be this wide that have now rusted to be this wide. We need to replace them before they're this wide. And even if you don't see that day to day, that is critical work that's being done. Two pieces that I want to highlight from this capital plan that are so important. One is what we're doing on the Grand Central and Park Avenue train shed, and rebuilding that and having the opportunity to redesign Park Avenue as part of it, but making sure that we keep the rainwater out, keep Metro North coming in and stopping any of the disturbances along that critical corridor in my district. And second is a deep commitment to accessibility. Yeah, clap that up. This is, you know, it is tough to do to retrofit stations that were not built with ADA requirements in mind because they were built 100 years ago, and to make them accessible. And this plan, if executed successfully, would have more than 50% of stations carrying, I think, 70% of daily riders would be accessible. That is a remarkable achievement and a remarkable down payment on a fully accessible system that I am so, so excited to see the MTA making today. So these are critical investments that we absolutely need as a city, as a state, as a region, and I can't be more thrilled to be here and to offer my support. Thank you.
A late-breaking special guest is an old friend, but somebody who is a passionate supporter of transit for 40-plus years, dating back to his leadership in the Assembly, our Congressman, West Side, East Side, Jerry Nadler.
Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here at the MTA's first in a series of open houses to engage with New Yorkers on the 2025 to 2029 capital plan. The next capital plan will greatly impact our region, and it's terrific that the MTA is holding this event to give New Yorkers the chance to learn about the plan and speak with MTA leadership. The capital plan represents a historic investment of $68.4 billion in the future of our public transit system. With substantial funding from the Biden-Harris administration's landmark bipartisan infrastructure law, the capital plan will rebuild and enhance our region's subways, buses, railroads, bridges, and tunnels over the next 5 years. And I'm especially grateful that it will prioritize bringing more stations into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. However, while the federal funding is vital, it's not enough. We must also have the funding promised by congestion pricing to truly secure the future of our region's public transit. After years of delay under the Trump administration, we need congestion pricing now more than ever to reduce paralyzing vehicle traffic in the central business district, to improve air quality in our city and region, and to raise desperately needed funds for the capital plan to enhance the public transit system that millions depend on. Without congestion pricing, the MTA will be forced to make system-wide cuts, including $10 billion on critical subway and bus projects in New York City, $800 million in critical cuts to Metro North, and nearly $1 billion in cuts to the Long Island Railroad. Congestion pricing is clearly the law of the land, enacted by the legislature and signed into law by former Governor Cuomo. It must go forward either by the court, or my hope is that Governor Hochul will soon unfreeze her pause and allow the MTA to implement this transformative and vital program very soon. MTA riders deserve on-time, safe, reliable bus, subway, and commuter rail services at a fair price. I will continue to work hard in Congress to support this capital plan and ensure that the safety, state of good repair, and accessibility projects included in the plan are realized. Thank you very much.
We have questions, if that's all right, sir.
Please.
First up with us today is Michelle Cassidy of Bloomberg National News. Michelle.
Hi, thank you. What are the 2 or 3 projects that are in the capital plan that are just a must, that they have to happen for safety and to maintain service?
Okay, you know, the theme of this capital program that we just enacted is we cannot start talking about massive expansions of the system until we maintain the condition of the existing system. That means, for example, Assemblymember Boris talked about structure. We have subway tunnels and elevated structures that we must invest in, number one. Can't let them fall apart. Everybody understands that. Number 2, we need subway cars that aren't going to break down like they used to in the 70s. We need to buy 1,500 subway cars. Number 3, we need a power system. This is railroad and transit both. We need power systems that are not from the land that time forgot, which is what we got right now. So those are 3 of the highest priority areas, but it includes all of what we call state of good repair, which is many, many other areas. And finally, Michelle, not to be forgotten, we must invest in protecting the system against the impacts of climate change. And that means a ton of investments, not just at the waterfront, but throughout the system, because torrential rainfall, extreme heat, as well as sea level rise are coming. They will attack the system. They're already attacking the system. We must protect the system from those as well.
All right, over there, sir, in the Southern Pavilion, we have Samantha Lebman of New York 1.
You haven't done these open houses before for the capital plan. Why now? Is there a certain strategy to try to get the funding that you're doing these?
Listen, Samantha, what I would say is this is the MTA's priority is transparency. When we're talking about investing $60+ billion in the system and asking legislators and governors and others to take action, we want to be very open book about why this is all needed. And we want the public to have an opportunity both to understand it, but also to give input directly to the leadership. That's what this series of open houses is about.
All right, let's go to Alonso Castillo, who joined us via Grand Central Madison from Newsday. Long Island's own Alfonso, go.
Hello. Somewhat off topic, but we're here in Grand Central Madison. As you mentioned, I just came up from there. New benches down there, new seating area. Very exciting for commuters. I want to ask you a bit about that. One, what took so long? Why 18 months before you get benches in the mezzanine? Will there be more? And what do you say to folks, some of whom I spoke to, who assume that the reason that there isn't more seating is to prevent homeless people from congregating?
Okay. Let's get to the small ball right away, right, Alfonso? We'll not talk about the billions that are needed to make sure that we continue the 96, 97% on-time performance. The seating is, we have a seating area in the mezzanine of Grand Central. We saw more people than we, in the planning process, anticipated crowding around the escalators directly to the tracks. We saw a need. We put in some seating to deal with it. It's principally for people with, mobility challenges, whether those are brought on by age or disability or otherwise. And we're now going to see how they're used and learn from it. That's really how we're approaching it. Is with I think it's 48 seats, right? 28. I mean, with 28 seats, we want to see how they're used and learn from it.
And over on the other side, sir, we have Ramsey Khalifa from WNYC, Gothamist. Ramsey, good afternoon.
Hey, so ridership just passed 4.3 million riders, daily riders. It's happened twice last week or twice this month. It's happened 5 times this year, according to your data. Does the MTA attribute this to the fare evasion enforcement, or is this about back to work? What do you attribute the ridership
Ramsey,
getting bumped back?
Here's the bottom line: is that when I came in, we were a hair over 2 million riders a day. We took a bet that New York was coming back, that New York depended on transit. The bet paid off. We're now double that number. So never bet against New York. I think that's the punchline that I would deliver when you're talking about the rising ridership.
Up in the mezzanine there, we've got Evan Simcoe Bednarski from the New York Daily News. Evan.
Hi, Jano. This is a question that I asked a couple of weeks back, but I'm wondering if you can go a little bit more in depth on it. You look at those 3 priorities. It's the structures, it's the power systems, and it's the rolling stock. Rolling stock's a huge piece of it, about $11 billion. There's a reference in the capital plan to financing that. Can you talk a little bit more about what that's going to mean in terms of how those cars get paid for, how that gets apportioned out across the capital plan?
Listen, the MTA has ideas about how to help finance that. The rolling stock is a unique piece of our capital program, which is you don't need to pay for it up front in the same way that some of the physical construction does. And what we're doing is just throwing on the table some ideas for the legislature and other decision makers to consider about how to finance rolling stock, which has been done in lots of other places. We don't have a specific plan, but there are a goodly number of alternatives about how do you finance something where you need to start the process, but you don't need the money for a good long while. Evan, that's what I would say.
All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, especially, I just don't want to finish without acknowledging, again, Jerry, Assembly Member Boris, Senator Kruger. These are the folks who represent us in all the different layers of state and federal government, and they are huge supporters of transit, and we are blessed to have you here as the MTA moves towards another capital program. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody here. For those, we got dozens of news organizations watching online. We want to put up that Liberty poster that's going up in the station right now on Liberty Avenue so that they can see it online, which they could not before. All right, this is going up right now at Liberty Avenue in Brooklyn.